Well, hello, everybody. I'm JD LaRock, the president and CEO of Nifty, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, and welcome to the latest episode of Entre News, our recurring interview series where I chat with Nifty students, alumni, educators, entrepreneurs, and today, industry leaders to discuss different facets of the entrepreneurial journey from the classroom to the corner office. It is Women's History Month, and as we head toward the end of the month, I'm so pleased to welcome two women who are doing incredible work providing entrepreneurship access and support. Gabrielle King Morse is the president and CEO at the Center for Women in Enterprise, and Liz Sara is the president of the SCORE Foundation. Welcome, Gabby and Liz.
Thank you so much.
I'd love to hear from each of you about your respective organizations and your roles there. And I know our viewers will want to hear about them too. So let's start with you, Gabby. Tell us about what the Center for Women in Enterprise does and what your role is.
Sure. So let me tell you what our vision is very quickly, and then I'll tell you how we are realizing that vision. So we really envision a world, or CW envisions a world, where women from all socioeconomic, racial, ethnic backgrounds, that they all have the resources and support to successfully launch, grow, and lead their companies. Because we know that when women succeed economically, they really make sure that the people around them also succeed. And so it goes, we call it the multiplier effect, goes way beyond her. And so how do we help her to launch and grow and lead her organizations? Well, we run 5 women business centers across New England. So we have places you can come and see us in person. We do a lot of work virtually. We serve over 4,000 women a year. We do that through training and technical assistance. We also do support women in supplier diversity, meaning if you are a company, a women-owned business who really wants to understand and start to apply for bigger procurement opportunities, we are there to help you not only get certified, but connect to those opportunities. So that is, in a nutshell, sort of our programming. But additionally, we've really begun to, I guess, beef up our ability to analyze our own data. So working with women, particularly women in underserved and underestimated communities, we want to make sure that we're doing the best by them and the best by the folks investing in the Center for Women Enterprise. And so we've always collected data, but recently in the last 2 years, really have built out our department to be able to analyze and share best practice. What is working in terms of the work that we're doing to support women entrepreneurs? What can we do better? What do our clients, we call our women entrepreneurs our clients, what do they want that we're not providing? Or what do they want where we can connect them to a fantastic programmatic partner, right? So really using that data in a more sophisticated way. And surprisingly, there is not a lot of research and data around women entrepreneurs from underserved communities in this country. So we really hope to nationally talk with partners across the country and really change the way that we are approaching supporting women entrepreneurs. So that's really us in a nutshell.
Wow, it's important work, and we're going to get into some data conversation later. Really great that you're focusing in on utilizing data to help women in enterprise. Liz, first of all, thank you, Liz, for being involved with Nifty over the years. We appreciate that. Tell us a little bit more about the SCORE Foundation and how you got involved.
Well, I've enjoyed all of the activities that I participated in that Nifty has sponsored, from the local pitch competitions where I've been a judge many times to some of your other activities. And it's always inspiring to see such young people with not only business ideas, but businesses that are actually making money. It's fantastic. I got involved with SCORE as a former entrepreneur myself. I've had 2 different types of companies over the course of my career. Early on, I co-founded a software company. And that was kind of unusual to see a woman co-founder starting a technology company, because I have no technology background whatsoever, couldn't code a line of software if my life depended on it. But what I brought to the table with my other 2 co-founders was business understanding and business experience. And I've been involved with entrepreneurial efforts and organizations ever since that organization that I was very excitedly part of. So from chairing at the Center of Entrepreneurship at my alma mater, University of Maryland, to chairing the National Women's Business Council as a presidential appointee, brought me in touch with entrepreneurs, both men and women around the country, who are trying to get a business off the ground or helping them to grow the business that they've already started. So the foundation works with SCORE, and SCORE's sole mission is to help small businesses succeed in all of the communities in which they operate. And their key method of doing that is by providing free mentoring. So SCORE has more than 10,000 business executives that volunteer their time around the country to help any entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur take that idea and make it a reality. The foundation works with organizations from corporations to other foundations and institutions who wish to help underwrite these SCORE programs to make those small businesses successful in whatever industry or community they operate.
That's really amazing. And I'm so glad that you brought up mentorship as a theme, because we at Nifty really recognize the value of mentorship in our programs. Our corporate and community volunteers who push into classrooms and support our educators and students provide an essential mentorship role. And I appreciate you mentioning that we have young people who are running active businesses. The help and support from the mentors is critical to that outcome. Liz, and Gabby, you're both very passionate about what you do. Liz, you've had a long career working in entrepreneurship, as you just described. Why is entrepreneurship so important for women?
Well, when we look at the impact of small businesses on our national economy, it truly is the backbone of job creation and path toward generational wealth. And we want to make sure that all women have that equal opportunity to start a business and take control of the American dream if they have that dream to be a small business owner, and provide them with the tools and the opportunity to make that idea a very successful business so that it can be a thriving force in their local community, a source of job creation, and a source of wealth for both themselves and their family, not only in the present time, but their future generations, their children and grandchildren. So business ownership is so important to our economy. When we look at some of the numbers just from 2023, SCORE's role in helping small businesses get started was pretty amazing. It helped more than 31,000 new businesses get off the ground. And in total, it helped more than 152 new jobs get created by small businesses. And that's just SCORE's impact. There's so many organizations such as Gaby's and dozens of others that focus on women entrepreneurs or various underserved communities of entrepreneurs that are contributing to that. So business ownership is very critical to the lifeblood of our economy.
Gabby, let's turn it back to the Center for Women in Enterprise and back to the statistics that you began to mention. So, we know from the numbers that in the US, very few people in general try entrepreneurship. But it's also the case that women are self-employed as entrepreneurs or in other positions at lower rates compared to men. And there's a gender gap in early stage entrepreneurial activity, and particularly a funding gap. The women get far fewer dollars compared to the investment that men are able to secure. So this speaks to systematic economic and regulatory barriers. It's not that there's a difference between the ambitions between the genders, but rather systemic factors. What is the center doing to help address this and provide greater access to entrepreneurship resources for the women you work with?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that and it mentioned all of the statistics, but thinking about the fact that women are such a smaller percentage of business owners, but they are a much bigger percentage in terms of launching their businesses, right? So then we know that more are closing, more are not living past 5 years, and so it is absolutely systemic. And I think before, talking about, how, I want to kind of even press further into the why. CWE is a women's economic empowerment organization. Entrepreneurship is one avenue. And what we really have to understand is, why are so many women going into entrepreneurship? Because it's not an easy road, and Liz, I'm sure you would have incredible stories to tell about launching your business. So why do we see white women launching businesses at twice the rate of white men? Why do we see women of color launching businesses at 4 times the rate of white men? And then we get to those kinds of statistics, JD, that you were talking about. Well, I think we have to go deeper and say, well, let's look at let's look at how women are doing in the workforce, right? These are things we know. We know that white women make about 82 cents on the dollar for a man in a similar position, same education, right? Black women, 63 cents on the dollar, and Latinas, 55 cents. So when you have women who are working right next to someone with a similar level of education, a similar level of experience, you might say, you know what, I'm going to do something else. This just I am not realizing my full market value here. And we also have to recognize, and this came from the Center of American Progress, that in households of color, over 70%, the head of household is a woman. So it's not, this entrepreneurship idea is not a nice to have. This is a really critical option where if she chooses to launch a company, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that she has the resources, the knowledge, the network, right? And the other piece that we need to recognize is, she may come to the Center for Women in Enterprise and have a really passionate idea. And we will work with her. Maybe she goes through our multi-week business class and she has a cohort and she's learning about, how to size up a market, really looking at finances, all the pieces you need, right? Like, who are the people around you? And she may assess that, you know what, right now, it's not the time to launch. And we have to recognize that as a success, and that now she has so much more information and knowledge. And very often she comes back 6 months later with a new idea or the same idea, but so much more sophistication and nuance around how she wants to launch this. And so it's just so important we keep in mind the whole picture, and that entrepreneurship, right? That's where we focus, and Liz, that's where you focus, and we love to partner with SCORE. If someone's going to do that, take that leap, we need to help them with everything we have to make sure that they know where to turn, even if we can just get them to that next step. So CWE really sees our role as connecting women to that next step, and also being open to the different paths that an entrepreneur might choose and supporting her in that direction.
I'm so glad that you frame it in that way, because at Nifty, we think about our own mission quite similarly. We are certainly focused on helping young people launch active businesses, and we're very proud of our young people when they do that. But at the same time, we also talk about developing the entrepreneurial mindset, which comes to mind when you talk about women who participate in programs of the centers, and they may not do something right away, but they may come back. That speaks to the initiating and developing that mindset, as I think about it. The interesting thing that we find as we have covered and done some research on our young women students is that we measure dimensions of the entrepreneurial mindset, things like communication, collaboration, critical thinking skills, ability to manage risk, ability to spot opportunities, ability to have a kind of future orientation. And despite stereotypes, despite incorrect conventional wisdom that female students are less interested in entrepreneurship than male students. We find that female students at Nifty actually have larger gains in these entrepreneurial mindset domains than young men after going through our program. So there's something, as you say, to be capitalized upon. The natural inclination of women to be involved in entrepreneurship, in some cases, the imperative of women to be involved in it to secure their livelihoods and that of their families. Liz, let's drill down a little bit into what else SCORE does. What are some specific resources that you have found are beneficial for women entrepreneurs and small business owners, especially?
In addition to the mentoring, there's a robust set of free resources, materials, and training programs that anyone can avail themselves of. Every week throughout the year, SCORE does a live national virtual training session on some aspect of starting or running or managing a business. In addition to those national training sessions, the 200 plus chapters that SCORE has around the country are doing local workshops and training programs for the men and women in their local community. And there's tons of resources on the score.org website covering every element of business operations, from supply chain to legal to finance and social media marketing. So there are templates and how-to guides and even on-demand courses that people can avail themselves of in terms of their availability and their time. So there's just really many tools that are there for the taking. And the more that we can share those resources and make people know that they're available, the better the opportunity they will encounter for success. And really, at the end of the day, it's about how do we increase the chances of success for each company? How do we help them grow and experience more revenue this year than the year before? And how do we get them to that point where they're operating a very thriving establishment, whatever it might be?
Well, that sounds like a cornucopia of resources, and we're going to give you both an opportunity to make sure our viewers know how they can access the resources of your respective organizations. But as we bring things to a close, let's return to each of you as individuals, because CEOs require the entrepreneurial mindset as well. And so, Gaby, let's start with you. You heard me mention some of the entrepreneurial mindset dimensions that we try to cultivate in our learners at Nifty. What have been some of the characteristics that have been most important to you in your own professional journey?
Yeah, many of them. And I was thinking, Liz, about all of the resources. There's so many resources. I think a really key skill, entrepreneurial skill, is to say, I'm going to take this one step, right? And don't get overwhelmed, but move forward, right? Because entrepreneurs, they will move forward. And I feel like that's been a huge part of my journey. Is I might feel overwhelmed, right? Because I'm running an organization, but take a deep breath. Work with the people around you. You have amazing people around you. I think that's number two. Don't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. Find your people and make sure that they're there to help you with those pieces that you need help. It's okay to ask for help. So creative problem solving, really identifying and leveraging your people. I think a really, really important piece is you're going to get a lot of advice. You always get advice. Listen. Make sure you listen. And then later you can assess if this is useful to you, right? And some of it is going to change your life. So listen. And some of it you're going to let go, and that's okay, right? But don't miss it. Don't miss those nuggets because they're coming at you, right? I'd say the final piece that I've used over and over again is you need to be able to pitch. You need to be able, in a limited amount of time, be able to frame either what you are presenting or what you're offering or what you're asking, right? It's a very information is coming at everybody, right? So help the person that you're talking to be as clear as possible, as concise as possible. And that has served me over and over again.
Such good advice, and so in line with what we do at Nifty. As you know, all of our programs culminate in pitch competitions, and the ability to state something clearly, succinctly, crisply, briskly is so important. I'll also add to that and say that the ability to answer questions well on the fly. Our students who thrive the most are the ones who have really thought about their business and are able to respond in a moment's notice to the questions that they get about their journeys. Liz, what about you? Creativity, adaptability, comfort with risk, opportunity recognition. What are some of the entrepreneurial mindset skills that have been most useful to you in your multifaceted career?
I think all of the above, JD, but for me, I think most importantly is having confidence in that business idea. And so we all know that it takes passion and, tremendous energy to get a business off the ground. And I've never met a founder who did not have utter passion for that idea and that business. So my advice to aspiring entrepreneurs is it has to be something that you're willing to work 7 days a week for, regardless of the time of day. And it is the one thing in your world that you want to make successful. So passion is key, the willingness to put in the time and the effort, and to be willing to go against all the hurdles that will be obstacles in your path, because there will be tremendous obstacles. And it's figuring out how to get around it, how to use the resources that are available to you, and how to ask for help. I mean, one of the things that as a gender, we women were very good at before the invention of the GPS is when we got lost in the car, we would stop and ask for directions. Not so much with men in that example, but men have been very good at asking for help. Women need to be equally as good at taking advice, but also for asking for advice. And often a founder is very good at the idea that the business model is based on, but they're not good in the other areas of running a business, and that is okay. That is what mentors can fill the gaps with. That is where an advisory board can fill the gaps. That is where other executives from other organizations can help. So I would say have passion, be willing to put in the time and the effort, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
You both mentioned that, and I think that speaks to the reality that the process of entrepreneurship is a learning journey for any entrepreneur, because it is multifaceted and complex. Before we end, let's make sure that our viewers know how they can get in touch with you and the resources that you offer. So please say a word about your websites and the resources where you'd like to direct viewers of this program to. Liz, please go first.
Sure. So for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, the best place to go to is score.org. And you'll see opportunities to sign up for training programs and download templates and access other types of information, as well as request a free mentor. For the foundation and the organizations that are interested in supporting the educational and training programs of SCORE, visit us at scorefoundation.org.
And you are working nationally, so that applies to anyone in the
We
country,
are.
yes?
That is correct.
And Gaby, how about you in the center?
Sure. So we are 5 women business centers of about 150 across the country. So please know, if you're not in New England, you can find through the SBA, through the Small Business Administration, you can find your local women business center. And so if you are in New England, please go to cweonline.org. Okay, and if you go there, you'll find wherever you are in New England, we have 2 centers in Massachusetts, a center in Rhode Island, a center in Vermont, and a center in New Hampshire. We have partners in Maine, but reach out to your local center. We have programming, we have intake so that someone will meet with you and find out where you're at and help you make that next step. So if you feel like I can't reach out anywhere because I don't know what I need, that's the perfect moment to reach out. And so please do. Find your community. I think that was, when we talked about find your people, if you don't know the exact people, find your community. Find people that you can trust or maybe can tell you about how they built their business. There's nothing better than that. So please do come, find your people. We'd love to help you.
Gabrielle King-Morse, President and CEO of the Center for Women in Enterprise. Liz Sara, President of the SCORE Foundation. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for the work that you're doing to support women and to support business owners more broadly. We really appreciate your time, particularly as we mark this month of respecting and honoring and celebrating all the contributions of women in this Women's History Month, including women entrepreneurs. Once again, viewers, I'm Dr. JD LaRocque of NIFTY, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. Thank you, as always, for joining us for this latest episode of Entre News, and stay tuned as we bring you more such episodes soon. Good afternoon and goodbye.